I didn't want to have to talk about cheating in Rumble, but here we are. But first, this is Safe Remain.
Definitely on that humble radar chart.
Are you gonna use that one for the video?
Rumble's biggest troll.
Maybe.
Actually a nice guy in game.
That's my radar chart, man.
And a very talented player.
I didn't pay you for nothing.
You didn't pay me nothing, I think is the expression.
In the last season of Pork, Safe topped Diamond rank, being undefeated. Meaning in the next season he'd be pushed up to play against the best players in the world. But he didn't have to wait that long to prove himself, because in round 2, in a shock upset, Safe beat Savitarian, who is mine and many others' pick to win this Battle of Champions tournament.
Are you kidding me, bro? That is so stupid.
This game, dude.
If I lose like that, that's whatever. I was low health anyway.
Even though Sav was on 2 HP, it was the freak ejection bug that lost him the match.
The fact that can happen now.
And that has nothing to do with this cheating thing, it's just Rumble is a perfect game with no bugs. And as you can hear, Safe was very empathetic about it. But to paint you a picture of Safe's complex character, soon after this he was timed out for a week in the main Buckethead server for, you know what, I can't even remember which offense it was for. A redeeming fact you should know about Safe Remain is that he has a pet chicken. It's just unfortunate that he uses that chicken to make a lot of innuendo-based puns. But rather than straight bans and seeing the gold in Safe Remain's heart, I created the SRP.
What do you think of the Safe Remain rehabilitation program?
Every time he oversteps the line, it increases his time
I
ban.
don't really care.
And every time he does something positive, it reduces it.
It's not an effective program. Yeah, it might actually encourage...
Do you think it needs to be stricter?
No.
It's not effective, but it doesn't need to be stricter.
What do you think we need to do to make it effective?
Well, it'd probably give me moderator roles in the Shoeless dojo.
That brings us back to the cheating allegations.
Now that we're streaming, let us just begin with your mugshot.
Which, in a very weird and unprecedented way, we had to deal with during our Bok match.
It's the biggest troll in Rumble, marred by controversy, and yet also one of the brightest stars right now. At least with this, we can know you're the real deal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it wasn't just any match. By safe skill and miracles for me, we'd both ended up in the top 5, giving us both a chance at an undefeated run to the end.
Safe Remain, we're number 1 and number 2, or were last week, so let's finish this. I wanna see a good show.
Yeah, alright. Let's go, man.
And 3, 2, 1.
So this Shoeleast video is going to be very different, because I'm going to break down the situation and everything that happened so we're all on the same page. I think live, I didn't do a great job of explaining things, because if Safe was innocent, which he was...
Oh yeah. I'm not used to these strats. I definitely should have gotten stubborn and woken up a bit.
Yeah.
That's just my to just absolutely throw for the first little bit.
If he was innocent, I didn't want to have to do things on stream to drag him through the mud. But also, to sort of clear his name, we had to do that. And so I did this awkward middle ground of not explaining things, just doing it, and it let people sort of fill in and imagine the gaps and get the wrong idea anyway. So I'm going to break everything down and explain it, but I did want to say from the very start, you know, before the retention dips completely, that Safe Remain was innocent, and there was definitely no cheating.
Alright, well, I see the MO.
However, it led me down a rabbit hole that's absolutely going to open a can of worms for what is and isn't acceptable in Rumble. And so we'll get to it. Whilst our match plays in the background. And I promise you the start of the video and that profile on Safe is very relevant. So amazingly, Rumble is a very balanced game.
Oh, nice.
There was like 1 or 2 tweaks to get things right, and ever since then, it's been balanced enough to push forward a competitive scene.
Damn.
That's gonna happen too. GG's nice.
I should have cleared my floor height cache while I was... last night. That would have been wise.
Yeah.
We will get back to floor height, believe me. My point on the devs, players, and comp scene interaction is the community has outpaced the devs in terms of the competitiveness of Rumble. So what that means is, of course, like you saw before with Sav's unfortunate getting yeeted out of the map, losing the match to Safe, there are a lot of bugs that affect the competitiveness of Rumble. Rumble is still very much in early access, and it's also wasn't necessarily built to be a fully competitive game for everyone.
Unfortunate.
Man. Yeah. Just not used to the ping.
Yeah.
It's also caters to a lot of different experiences and just fun. Casual experiences, building stuff, the sandbox nature of martial arts and discovering moves. The meta comp side isn't what I play the game for. In fact, that's the smallest part of the game to me and the least interesting. I just got FOMO'd into this competition when I thought I was going to retire. But what that means when the community outpaces the devs on the competitive side means that it's up to the community to enforce
It's done.
and make the guidelines around what is and isn't acceptable in comp. And we don't have the tools really sometimes to get around issues that come up. Now, there was maybe one or two very deliberate and obvious cheaters that were ever found who manipulated the game to make like a rock magnet to their opponent, or a glitch that meant they were always host, or really dumb, annoying things like that. That stuff is obvious and we can call it out. Something that's a lot harder and a lot weirder to police in Rumble is height and height manipulation. There's a beauty in the diversity of Rumble in the way that we all bring our own hitboxes into the game, and I've talked about it many times. But being short is an objective advantage, and I even said that in the very first Flick video. Sometimes I wish I didn't, because that knowledge is quite powerful, and when people hit a plateau in a game where they can't improve their own skill, you start to look for that edge elsewhere. And that edge could be in being a short king. To give commentary on the game, Safe is placing amazing pressure on me, is super slippery on this
I'm just
ping.
bad with the self-damage on this ping.
And I'm, struggling. His matches are finishing super fast on his host.
Damn.
Should have protected myself or something.
And I took a while to take him down. And I was impressed.
Damn, that's good. That's good.
Now, in a previous tournament, which I won't mention, and a player that also doesn't need to be mentioned, we had someone admit to cheating, making themselves about 8 inches shorter than they were previously. And it was just a major, major advantage. Now, since the start of Rumble, it's been known that manipulating your height is just cheating. But as a community, we're still working out the gray areas and what is and isn't acceptable. And there's a lot of things that have been unsaid that maybe this video will open a can of worms or not.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's rough.
So I have my own opinions, of course, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the community as a whole that has to agree to standards and what is and isn't okay.
Boy. Out of the
Being short is an advantage because at the extreme, you can be under the height of a disc or a ball
Getting
straight.
used to the new update.
But also, every inch shorter is room that something could go over your head instead of hitting
Oh,
you.
nice hit, son. Oh, if he can bleed, we can kill it.
Okay.
So being short isn't cheating, but making yourself shorter has been seen that way. Because if we let anyone be any height, then it becomes a race to the bottom of who can make the most optimized little puppet running around being unable to hit. And we'll also get into how that gives you an advantage on the poses as well later. And so, that brings us to Safe Remain, whose crime
I'm gonna
was
have to redo my floor height and everything.
being called short, or shorter than he was expected to be.
What's that?
I just feel off. It might be the nerves, or it just might be,
That's fair enough. We'll go back to the chart.
I just feel like I'm missing dashes and stuff. I'm
Right,
just
right.
not.
So what's your process for this?
Oh, yeah, I do my floor and then my Tivos.
Okay.
Oh, I almost crouched for that one.
Okay. Back up against
Alright, which
the-
side?
Yeah, just this side. A bit further. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Nice.
Okay. Alright, I'll go to my side. The filthy client side.
Now, height things, it's really hard to police. The only way to tell, like in the first case I mentioned, if we notice someone's height change over time drastically. The other way to tell is if someone says what their height is and it doesn't match up. And so this all started when Pep pointed out that I'd stolen his second place, and of course you get the classic Safe Remain, also known as Flick Emperor Phase Remain, responded how he does,
Quick. He's quick.
prompting me to bring back up the Safe Remain Rehabilitation Program, which prompted someone else to ask, was the jurisdiction of that program just within my server or all Rumble servers?
Not that quick.
And I said it was all Rumble servers. But I reiterated that that also includes his positive contributions to the game and the nice things he does to earn time off his sentence. Which, as you've seen before, people have done.
I don't get how you're living in that corner. That's impressive.
Gotta.
And then as I mentioned to you, Blitzer pointed out that in person in game, Safe acts very different. He's actually a nice, funny guy. And also his sped up footage of Safe just absolutely being unhittable on client in our match, being super defensive, and me struggling to get my host win. But because hurt people, and Safe Remains struggles to accept the love he deserves, he responded as a troll to Blitzer. And then Hudney said, it's probably because most of us are taller than you, and then Safe said, brother, I'm nearly 5'10". An admission of height.
It's rough.
Yeah, you play well. You play very defensively. Just trying to figure
You just
it
have
out.
control. Yeah.
Which was curious to Sabbatarian, who said, well then where TF is your floor height at?
That was a lucky one.
Now if you've never played in a VR headset, you have to adjust your boundary when you go into a headset so you don't run into things, and in a Quest headset, probably the others too, you have to set your floor height so the machine knows where you are in relation to the world. Now you can easily trick that floor height and bring it up, which translating into game would make you a lot shorter, and is an easy way to do that.
How to do something differently.
Which again is why it's very hard to police this kind of thing. Now Safe said he didn't know, and then Sav confirmed that, well, he was a lot shorter in-game. Now I don't know how much shorter, I'd never played Safe before. And then Safe threw someone else under the bus, Juice Bar.
I'm mashing. You're Jerry Walnutting.
Jerry Walnutting.
Yeah. My brain's too slow.
It's just everything sat into a nice position for me to throw at you.
Oh no, I'm scared.
But the thing is, you know, Safe's a troll, so it's hard to separate what's trolling and what's truth. And along the line, there was an admission that, yeah, he was in fact shorter, and he theorized that maybe it was because it was on his sister's meta account,
Oh, nice.
and that he wondered why he was short in-game. So it's kind of an admission to being shorter than he should be and not needing to fix it. Whether it was malicious or some technical difficulty, either way, it sounded like he was using that benefit regardless. And there was also the worst case possibility, which he could be deliberately manipulating his height, but using this as some kind of cover story. And I'll be honest, a sister's meta account, a meta account has nothing to do with floor height. So I kind of called that out as suspicious, and said that if we got matched up, I'd be bringing a measuring tape.
What am I doing?
Because at this point, we hadn't been matched up.
No
Yeah, what am I
worries,
doing
knock
with this
back right
stone? I
into-
can't even get explode off on that. this stupid stone.
Yeah. If you can't get it off, you might as well use something else.
Yeah. Wise words from the mouths of trolls, you know? That's the thing about Safe Remains. It's all a character. He's a big softie. He just can't accept love the way normal people do. So he pushes everyone
The
away.
way normal people do.
Yeah.
It's so deep. Wise words.
See, this is what he does. He pushes people away. Hurt people, you know?
What if you're the hurt person?
Then you hurt people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No. No, it started with you. The infection started with you.
Well, as fate had it, we'd be put against each other in the very next week. So again, I brought up the measuring tape, of course. And then this is where it took another turn. Because he said, if I bring that measuring tape, it's a thrashing, little bro. And then threw someone else under the bus. But that fear of the measuring tape was strange, because I don't mind being beat. I need to be bested. I wanted to come into this competition to meet the best. But I wanted to have it happen under fair conditions. And so I said, you keep saying things that make me think that you're manipulating your height. Which was the final chance for Safe to just say, I was trolling, it's fine, it's nothing. But then he said, all's fair in love and war, and proceeded to throw someone else under the bus again, insinuating they are height manipulating. So I'm not gonna lie, the trolling, it got in my head, and I reached out to the tournament organizers to ask, well, what happens in this situation? Because it's in the rule book that you shouldn't be height manipulating. And as a community, unfortunately, we've never really done anything to enforce it or draw those lines. And in my mind, I was imagining the other situation where someone had made themselves 8 inches shorter, which was a major advantage. So Lachlan, the tournament organizer, took control of the situation, and Lachlan, he's a goat. He handled this perfectly. Innocent until proven guilty, see the accusation, see the evidence, outline a process to confirm or deny if there's any shenanigans in play. He would not take anyone's side, and the process had to be fair on all fronts. There would be a third party, everything would be recorded, it would all be good. Now, I was hoping to avoid making this a big public thing in discussion because, of course, in DM, Safe drops the character and admitted to the trolling.
Man, just missed that cube.
So we on to tiebreaker?
I guess we're going. Yeah, we're going to tiebreaker now.
But even though he admitted to trolling, the issue had already been escalated to Lachlan and the process had begun to clear his name.
Do you feel like the boy who cried wolf?
Nah. I mean, did I ever cry about anything?
No.
Like specifically?
No, you didn't. No, you know the metaphor of the story.
Yeah, the metaphor. Yeah, I mean, you just lie about shit over and over, and it eventually fucks you over.
Not to mention, figure out why he was shorter than he should be if it wasn't malicious.
I think what the process is going to look like, I think Lachlan already said this, is that...
Now, at first, there were chats by Lachlan to have webcam footage privately streamed to show that the floor height was being set correctly, and that wasn't the issue, but I felt uncomfortable making anyone reveal personal information, and I'm sure that would make anyone feel uncomfortable.
Can you move just around there? Because the height chart is just there.
So I pushed forward to think up another solution, which was to use Calamart's mod to bring in a height chart into Rumble to verify someone's height.
Let me check my height, actually.
Your eye?
Make sure this is calibrated.
I used my own height and about 5 others to verify that it worked.
Take the fuck.
And we also built in a margin of error for different hairstyles and also just different headsets giving different results. So now, of course, when you're in like an active stance of battle, you're not standing getting your measuring height, but you should be able to stand at your true height and reach it after T-posing to confirm you match up.
How would you like to discuss the chart in the match?
You're going to have me talk about it in a video or something?
Like I've always said from the start, I don't want to do you dirty. I respect you as an opponent. And this is a weird situation.
Now, like I said, Safe was innocent, but the question remained of why he was shorter than he should be. Option A, his sister's meta account.
I thought she was going to try it out and maybe want to play it. So I was like, okay, I'll get it on her account, you know? So if she wants to play it...
Turned out to be a true story, but would never impact floor height. Option 2, sometimes the quest floor height can drift.
Yeah, so if you feel like your floor is drifted or whatever and you want to re-T-pose, and we have a spot
That
over
could
there.
also be a factor.
I will also remeasure on the day that we do it, just and use that as reference.
Please don't show up tomorrow and be like 10 centimeters off. I know you won't.
Uh-huh. I'm sure you wouldn't be able to tell either. All right, see ya, man.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Why?
I'm messing with him, dude. I don't mean it.
This is literally the boy who cried wolf. You need to read that story. Brother.
Look, dude, you're measuring me either way, both times.
Or it could be an issue with lighting.
I feel shorter. Is that just me psyching myself out, or?
No.
No, I'm not.
Don't feel shorter.
Yeah, you're a bit shorter today. Do you want to read T-pose?
Okay.
I forgot to turn my lights on. That might have been why. I don't think I got taller.
You just got. Yeah, you did get taller.
Okay.
You just got like 2 inches taller when you T-posed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the correct height that you were yesterday.
Do you normally play with your lights off? Because that could have been it the whole time.
No, I just forgot.
Also not the lights, but I think it could have been a combination of floor drift and something else that came completely out of left field. A gray area. All the gestured-based moves in Rumble are based off your T-pose when you enter into the game. And for the first time I learned, beyond A-posing, which I'll talk about, there's another form of pose optimization certain people have been doing.
I don't usually stand upright for when I T-pose. Should I just do that, or?
I mean, if you...
I guess. just accuracy's sake.
If that's the issue of the height manipulation is because of the crouch or whatever, then...
Oh, no, I'm not crouching for these matches. Lachlan told me I just can't do that anymore, so...
Right.
I mean, it's just like a tiny, tiny bend. It does make me smaller, though. The aim with it, I mean, you just drag your hold post slightly down.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it actually makes that much of an effect. I was just coping about
You can't check
cosmetic update.
Thing. Yeah, look, you're fine, bro. Like this. Because you're a good player. Like, and now, you know, if you win, there'll be no shadow of a doubt, which is good. That's what you want.
Just to recap, when you go into the game, you're asked to T-pose. It measures your headset height and where your arms are. Based off of that, it gives you your poses that you hit to make the gesture-based moves. I've discussed before A-posing, which is the practice of tucking your arms in a little bit to affect where those pose boxes go. Now, I'm not in the comp scene. Like I said, I almost retired from this comp too. So it was a bit of a shock to hear that some people are crouching as part of their pose meta. So I asked Savatarian some questions to get insights on the pro scene.
Well, what do you think then? Because, I mean, you're at the pro level, so you know what's more accepted and what's not.
I'm personally against it, but I've also been against like A-posing, but I also understand like, because technically I do a slight A-pose, because I do like a slight arm bend. Yeah. I'm not like full arms extended. And so like, that's also a slippery slope. I think it just lowers your poses, all of them. So it just makes it so your natural resting point is lower.
Yeah, and they're closer together, and you don't get hit by as much. Okay, I can do this so much faster. Like, so where's the line? You know, like it kind of sucks because then it is like a bit of a race to the bottom, and like, what can you get away with?
And there are people who like do what is, in my opinion, worse, where they bring their floor height higher,
well,
so they don't even have to crouch.
That's literally height manipulation. Like,
yeah, and I know there are people who do that. Like, I've heard people say for, like, accessibility, but a lot of times it doesn't really sound like accessibility.
To make them easier is different to accessible.
Like, to make the poses lower or whatever.
I don't know, dude. It just sounds like a can of worms that's festered, and it's like, when there's money on the line and some people do it, some people not, it just feels kind of...
Yeah, they just need to make... I think they just need to make universal height.
Yeah.
Like, scale everyone to the same height.
Is that possible? Or could they just do, like, hitbox... Like, your hitbox is different.
Your hitbox doesn't change?
How you... Yeah, so people who are short will still cop a ball to the head.
I don't know if he's cracking down on anyone else, or is it just me,
I mean, if it's kind of in your right, if it's being enforced on you, to have it enforced on others. That it shouldn't be a one just safe remain thing.
So yes, very interesting. That catches you up to today. So... in short, to recap, some people do a slight crouch in their pose. I don't know who, but it includes safe remain. And that maybe made him a little bit shorter, combined with potential technical difficulties, which we sorted out. But to his credit, once he hit did the measurement, he fixed it, and he was the height, and he played really well with his poses, and he said that maybe he was coping, just thinking that the crouch added something to the pose changes, when it didn't necessarily do that. To be fair, the other side is, when you do a slight crouch, when you stand back up, your head would still rise a little bit, which would make your feet sort of be on its slight tippy toes. If it's really egregious, then you'd start floating in the air. But that would be, I guess, the people who crouch, their defense for the act, that it doesn't actually change your height. But for whatever reason, Safe Remain was shorter before, and now he's a good height, and he played just as well. And so that's a credit to him, that he went through this whole process as well. So, like I said, Safe was innocent, and might have just been a thing where it was a gray area and lines haven't been drawn. And that's where the rest of this video is kind of discussion to see what the community thinks. We are a vast group with many different people with many different perspectives, so I'm going to share mine, but I'm going to do my best to have a little bit of empathy for the other side of the equation.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay.
Wait.
My sister's just walking in.
Did you want a second, or I'm stopping?
Oh yeah,
sure.
Just
give me a
got to
second.
deal with the sister.
Yeah, let me finish first. Then you can order me around. All right. I'll just get in line at the pillar.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was my bad.
Oh, sorry. You were meant to destroy that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it doesn't really matter.
My bad.
I do have the chart advantage.
So I've been thinking through this whole pose thing a lot, right? Because when you enter the game, it tells you to T-pose, and everything is proportional to that. So in one way, you can say that's how the game is designed, and that's what you should be doing. And if everybody just did a full T-pose, we're all coming into the game on the same footing. Now I could see someone on the other side of the argument going,
Pay attention.
oh, very bad spot for me. Comparing changing your poses to something like mouse sensitivity in FPS games. There's a whole science to that. That's a metagame in itself, to choosing high sense or low sense, you know, acceleration curves, weight of the mouse, your trackpad, the buttons you have, etc., etc. And that's like a game beyond the game. So could not pose efficiency and doing what you need to make the poses best for you be a metagame that's accessible to everyone? And could not the people who just refine those poses the best be rewarded for playing better with how they want to play? Which is interesting because, you know, a lot of cheats are defined as, you know, using tools outside of the game that gives you an unfair advantage, whereas technically everyone coming into the game could change their T-pose and go to the most efficient thing. But I still feel a bit uncomfortable with that. So like I mentioned before, some people used to A-pose, which is hold your hands down or tuck them in. And now what this would do would be to move all your poses closer in together and make them easier to hit, more for a pace play style. There is an advantage to having long arms. You have a longer reach in the game, an area of effect. But most of the time for that specific playstyle of going, gotta go fast.
Oh, damn, that was close, dude.
That was too
Nice.
close.
Yeah.
Pose efficiency is king.
That was very close. Solid.
Thank you.
And so I do think this is a bit of an element of Rumble being such a new game, that this is a conversation that we need to have to work out, what is that a fair comparison or is it not? Because the other part of me goes, well, the devs have designed the poses to be proportional. And of course, you could metagame the poses to be as easy to hit as possible. But does that not kind of... Oh yeah, I'm going for the close range stun lock here, but Safe's just really good at getting around there. He knows exactly where to go.
Yep. It's not the first time.
Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, poses are easier to hit. Now, there's a difference between accessibility and ease of play. There are great mods like the one-handed Rumble mod that the devs have got behind to make the game more accessible. There could probably be more options for seated players as well, to maybe increase their height so they're on the same standing as everybody else, but able to play seated. And probably other features I'm not thinking of as well. But there's a difference between accessibility, and I don't want to talk out of place if I'm sure there are some examples that I can't possibly think of that would definitely warrant making the game accessible, but there's a difference between accessibility and making the poses just easier and more efficient to hit.
Brother.
No. I fucked up a little too much there.
Kevin, you're giving me hope now. I didn't have that before.
Because to me, and this is my opinion, you know, I just have one, there'll be others in the community, please share them in the comments. I know this needs to be an open discussion, is that the game is meant to be hard. Like, the poses are there for a reason, and it's exercise. And I guess that's why it's different to me to just mouse refinement. I think a part of the game is the fact that the poses are a certain distance apart. You've got to flail your arms around to hit them, and you have physical limitations of your arm lengths. Of course, if you're a shorter person and have shorter arms, then that's your natural advantage that you get to have. But if you're a taller person and make yourself smaller, or your pose box is shorter, you sort of are getting the best of both worlds of being able to have a longer reach than what the game thinks you have when you T-pose, and use that to your advantage. Plus, like I was saying, I think having to move your arms a certain distance
It's slippery.
is a part of the game and makes it more tiring. Because there's
Knock down my,
that idea of a
trash
race
can
to
for
the
that
bottom that you could optimize them
Shout out
so
to
much that
Grant.
you're barely moving your hands and barely doing any work, quote unquote, or exercise to
nice.
make things happen. So that's why it's weird. So A-posing is a gray area. Some people still do it. The devs actively nerfed it with the cosmetic update to put limitation restrictions on how small you could make your arms depending on your height within, you know, the limits of just like a human proportion. You couldn't break that before you could. But even still, you can do that to this day. And it was just kind of accepted because good players did it, and it made you like better. So I was like, oh, you know, it was this gray area that was never said. Now, the other part of that is starting to crouch to lower your resting
I
pose.
do need a remeasure after this.
That's where it's also just crossing a
Just
line,
be
because even an
100%
inch or
certain.
two smaller, you know, you can crouch a little bit, you can
Certain
raise
to
your
take
floor
off your
just a little
stance.
bit. All of a sudden, you're 4 inches of advantage where you didn't
Maybe
have that
shorter
before.
arms.
You're glitching out.
Yeah, they gave me arm surgery. You got shorter arms now.
175 is what we're looking for.
Yep.
Yeah.
So everyone stand back.
At this point, it was probably unnecessary to
Put it back,
measure.
put it back.
It's just keeping everybody honest.
Yeah, look. That's good. You're good.
Now, if
Okay.
Safe had never said his height, he never would have got called out. So that's the hard part too, is some people have given up with even putting lines around this stuff. Because it is impossible to
I
police.
told you I'll do it after. Just leave me alone, for the love of God.
Oh, the sister. Poor Safe. Yeah,
Alright.
so if you can't police it, then can you really enforce it? Is it even worth drawing these lines? Do we just have to
Sometimes I
accept
feel
it?
like I'd be a way better player without my sister.
So even a troll has a troll. That's where it comes from.
But I also think, like I said, Rumble's in its infancy and the community has outpaced the devs. In the future, we don't really know what's going to happen with this. And I think with IRL tournaments, that's going to be a fascinating thing where it will be very obvious who's cheating and who's not. Now, obviously, not everybody is going to go to IRL tournaments, but I think that's a big part of Rumble's future, you know, having sectionals, regionals, I don't know. The thing like having university, like esports
nice.
groups where you could play Rumble in person, on LAN, perfect ping.
It's just a matter of watching out for it.
Yeah, I ain't getting through the range. This is a very good fight.
Yeah.
My aim was to, in this tournament, was to at least meet and play the best player. So if you
Oh,
get
you're already
this,
here?
yeah, then I'll be going for you. I'll damage myself. Where's the
Alright, then.
one wall?
Yep.
And look, if I was running IRL tournaments, I would make the floor height obviously mandatory, and I would make full T-posing mandatory as well. That just is very obvious when you can see a player in the flesh. So I think if people play with different styles of game optimization of that, if you're playing, you know, in a tournament,
Got hit so bad, my camera came out.
in an IRL tournament, you're not going to be able to get away with those sort of shenanigans.
Whoa!
The dead stop return.
So much clutter. Absolutely need to watch out here.
But look, I'm just one person, and I A-posed as well for a while until I just decided to full T-pose. So it's tricky. It's like one of those things is a little bit okay, a little bit of a crouch to get your hold pose a little bit lower so you can hit it more consistently. That's the thing as well, is that when the pose is slightly changed, when the cosmetic update came out, people lost their muscle memory, and you know, it's very hard to lose your skill because the developers changed something and you can't go back. So there was an effort to fix and correct that with changing your controller's positional offset.
Are you kidding me, bro? Just slipped up. Okay,
It's
5
unfortunate.
damage.
5 damage, shoot to the pillar. Oh,
Oh. I'll just use it.
Now,
I'll
I'm not
cheat
gonna
a
lie,
lot.
I thought about doing that because it felt like to hit my resting pose, I needed to rotate my arms a lot more. But now I just committed to relearning the poses and I'm good. But even still, I think if I was to rotate my hands a bit more to my controllers, it would make every pose easier. I wouldn't need to lock my hands in at the sides, like, you know, my palms facing sort of directly up. I could be more lax with it. And then every pose would have much more leniency, and I wouldn't have to twist my arms as much. So that's just like one idea of, again, the meta game of pose refinement with exterior tools to change how your controllers are seen in game. It's a gray area, but then again, the devs are still, you know, porting and making sure the game works with different headsets. So some people genuinely had issues with their hands lining up with the specific controllers or wands or whatever they had. So we're just, you know, jerry-rigging it together to make it work for everyone. But yeah, it's hard. There's a bunch of edge cases where something like that might be appropriate. Then I can also imagine where people would over-optimize it, so they're playing a game that's half as hard as everybody else, and they can hit their poses a lot faster naturally because they're optimized to the body. And yeah, should that be a part of the game at the high end? Maybe, is this overthinking it? Who cares? Like, whatever, it's just a game, touch grass, bro. I don't know.
It's hard. It's like sometimes I know what you're gonna do, it's too late.
I just love Rumble, and I just want to make sure that the competitive scene in the future is, we sort this out before Rumble goes mainstream, so it doesn't hurt the competitiveness of the game. And it's just nice having everybody on the same page, if that makes sense, and not having sort of secret strats buried deep in the Discord of how to fully optimize your poses so that they're super easy to hit and faster than everybody. When the game itself, whenever anyone enters, it asks you to T-pose. That's the other thing. Some people say, oh yeah, I crouch a little bit when I T-pose because when I'm playing, of course, I'm not standing at my full height, so why can't I bend my knees a little bit? I mean, there's got to be a level of like a couple centimeters, like the margin of error is fine.
Oh, bro.
Dude. No, I just missed so many poses.
Brutal.
That was bad.
I got really lucky there. Safe just damaged himself in the bar. Set for tiebreaker. Well, that was a sneaky disc. So, yeah, but my thoughts on even that is like, but the game poses are designed around the T-pose. That's how the devs made it. So they've factored in that you're not standing in a T-pose when you play, obviously. So when people say, oh, like, a little bit of this is okay because I don't play like that kind of doesn't make sense to me. It seems like there's a lot of cope sometimes around this stuff to not want to lose it. And to be fair, the pose boxes are invisible to us. There's maybe one tool once to show where they actually were, but we're all sort of feeling it out, so it's easy to get a bit superstitious of like, oh, maybe this feels better, and have false correlations and superstition almost around what does what to your poses, and people thinking they're getting an edge when it's maybe just a little bit of placebo, and like safe, they'd be fine without doing a little bit of a crouch T-pose.
Carried through. Okay, the bar has been set at 1. And we're locked in at no stones, 5 HP. So all you gotta do is win one of these, and it's done. I mean, it's reset. If you win 2, you raise it, and we continue to fight. But I would have no chance to raise it, only reset it. When you're ready.
But yeah, I think this whole situation just led me with more questions than answers, really, and things that as a community we should probably discuss and draw lines around of what is and isn't okay. So, I you know, if there's consensus around there's a metagame to optimizing poses, then we'd all have to accept it. Or if it was in-person Rumble tournaments will require strict T-poses, then you probably don't, if you're a good player, don't want to, you know, ruin your muscle memory for that if you're not going to be allowed to do it for like the fun, cool tournaments in a few years' time. Now that's some long-term thinking though, because I'm fully Rumble-pilled on the success of this game. But as you can see, Safe did not suffer at all from having to change his pose slightly. It didn't affect his game. He was stronger than ever. His pace was amazing, and he was a great sport about this whole process. I'm sure it was uncomfortable to go through. So it's a credit to him, and I appreciate, him going through it, and Lachlan as well for outlining a fair, good system that wasn't, taking anything into account but facts and not taking sides as well. So I just got insanely lucky with Safe damaging himself. Now let's lock in, see if I can defend this final round. Because having the bar set, if I win, the game's
Still
done.
chance.
Yep.
Oh.
Are you? Alright.
GG's.
GG's, man.
That's rough. I do
Yeah,
feel like
I'm
it's
not-
it's a different game on Hyping. If there was a different
Yeah.
metric of like speed of wins, more damage done, you would have won. You had me.
I changed my doctrine too late, I think.
Safe remain.
Jeez, man.
You earned some time off your safe remain rehabilitation program.
Cause you won.
No, because of the good sportsmanship. And the value you bring to the community when you are in person and not a text troll. Anyway.
GG's.
GG's. GG's.